So I complete joy to welcome Guru and Suharsh. These are partners. Guru is one of us. He was a MICAN.
Yes,
And
proud one.
Proud one, yes, totally yes. And whenever you see a MICAN get back to campus, it's almost like homecoming. And so it's homecoming in pieces. We have Guru here, Gurudev Prasad. He leads a company, he's extensive experience working in the industry. And today Guru was on campus talking to students. I thought it's the optimal opportunity to quickly get him and take the extract of all that he did with the students.
Awesome.
So Guru, welcome.
Thank you.
And my first question, and I'll quickly jump into the thick of it. One of the things, because I teach here and so I can tell you the same, marketing, communication, branding, all of this sounds so commonsensical that a lot of people from outside feel, oh, this is just common sense packed with jargons,
Yeah.
right? And so the two things happen. We either have the opportunity of being elitist and talk in jargons so people have faith in us, or vice versa, we get lost into this world of doing something that everybody does. And so my quick bit coming back to you, you've seen the journey. What are those guardrails that you would give to marketers? And I'm talking especially to young, emerging, young managers, irrespective whether MICA or any other school. What are those things that students must bear in mind if they want to become a good marketer, like a good marketer?
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you for inviting me for the orientation, talking to 200 odd kids, spending 3 hours with them. Absolutely fascinating. It almost feels like a time machine and I'm transported to kind of my being the 20-year-old curious bunch. So I was telling them actually it's counterintuitive, but to be a good marketer, you actually don't need an MBA.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And not probably the right place to say this, but I think the fundamental tenets of marketer, a good marketer, is this curiosity, right, of knowing or wanting to know what is happening around you, and this restlessness that if there is something new happening, I want to know about it.
Yeah.
Confidence
Okay.
that I don't know it, but I can figure it out.
Okay.
And I think the most important thing is empathy. This
Okay.
whole idea that, to be able to put yourself in consumers' shoes and kind of look at things from their perspective,
Okay.
right? We are a land of like over 1 billion people, and every person is different. So just to have that, not have preconceived notions, just to be able to put yourself in consumers' shoes, I think it's very important. One thing though I want to mention here is that when we talk about upskilling and changes that are happening in the industry, people often talk about how fast, how soon technology is changing. A lot of times people don't really realize how fast marketing is changing.
Okay. Okay.
Right? There are new tools every day, there are algorithms that you have to serve to, then there are enduring principles of brand tenets.
Okay.
So it is like going through a flux,
Okay.
and like things are changing at a rapid pace. I think I was telling the students that the real, education starts outside the college.
Okay. Okay.
When you get into the real world. And often what happens is, once you're out of college, you stop reading.
Learning.
You think that now you've learned and it's a time for us to kind of get into execution.
Correct.
But I think we are living in phenomenal times. I have a 14-year-old, Suharsh has 2 daughters, same, teenage. And it is once in a generation kind of thing where while my son is learning in school, I am learning new skills and new tricks of the trade, right?
Yes.
And I only see this becoming like this will only intensify. This
sure.
need to upskill will only intensify, right? So be curious about new things, be confident that you can figure out, have the sense of empathy, and just, the idea that learn, constantly upskill yourself, right?
Okay, okay.
I'll just give you this statistic, and I was talking to students about this, that our ability to deeply reflect on things has diminished so much, and there's so many disruptions and so many notifications and so many things vying for your attention. If you even read newspaper, a business newspaper every single day, you will be among the top 1% who will be aware of things around you.
Absolutely,
It's such an
lovely.
easy hack. Yeah, that's how it
Lovely.
is, yeah.
Good,
I think
good.
I'll add my 2 bits to it because
Yeah.
as a engineer turned marketeer,
Okay.
I can just add to what Guru is saying. Often people think, like you said, marketing doesn't need skills; it's just
Yeah.
commonsensical. So
Yeah.
why do you need to do a course at all?
Correct.
I would contradict this and say marketing is actually problem solving at its most fundamental level.
Okay.
You are solving a very basic consumer problem. You're not repairing a machine. You're not repairing you're dealing with people. You're dealing
Okay.
with humans, how they think,
Okay.
how they behave, why they behave.
Okay.
So it requires a convergence of various sciences.
Okay.
It's an art. It requires a knowledge of consumer behavior.
Okay.
It requires scientific skills. And most important guardrail is be tolerant of ambiguity. And
Okay.
make sure that you know how to derive a structure out of ambiguity.
Lovely.
You are hassled by ambiguity. If ambiguity is something that you can't tolerate, we like to see things in black and white, marketing is not your cup of tea because you should be tolerant of ambiguity and still you should know how to make sense of that ambiguity, how to make those inferences, those conclusions which have tangible real life implications. So common sense, ability to deal with ambiguity and a very, very first principles approach.
Okay.
You have to start from ground zero. Every problem, preconceived notions will not help you. So
Okay.
I think that's the beauty of marketing that attracted to me as an engineer to a marketing as a problem.
Absolutely.
Lovely.
that's-
I
One
hear
last
you.
thing, I think I was telling this to students before I forget that I've worked with so many marketers, we work with so many clients. The difference between a really successful one marketer versus a average marketer is that successful marketers love what they do.
Okay.
Marketing is not something that you will pick up from textbooks and classrooms. You have to be passionate about it.
Okay.
You have to be passionate about people. You have to be passionate about this discipline. I think that's one thing.
Okay.
I think it might hold true for everything else, but as a marketer, I've seen the difference between the ones who really are absolute North Star shining examples. They're so passionate about it. It's just phenomenal.
Okay. So I hear you, and let me kind of put this all together. And I have one more question which I will pose. So I hear that you're saying that students or anybody who's getting into marketing should be a curious mind, should be interested in knowing what's happening around, should be empathetic, should be willing to work on first principles, and should be ready to navigate through ambiguity. You'll be delighted as I share this with you, and this is inside a piece for you. We did this market survey and capture people's perception about MICAs. These are the traits that come out about MICAs. So MICAs come out as some people who are very good at handling, working with ambiguity. They're very curious. But what I add, and I'm talking specifically to the MICA fraternity, and this is what you said, we've got to begin to learn to structure that.
Absolutely.
So that reflection bit, I think that's my takeaway, which I take back to class. You're curious, you're interested, you're empathetic, you're working on first principles, you're willing to innovate, work in ambiguity. But all of this can't be in a flux. There has to be an order to it. And I think that's a beautiful piece. And I hear one more thing, which is this willingness to constantly learn because there is technology, because there are tools. And I think that is a crucial piece, maybe for which they need to get back to the table and learn.
The other important thing about Indian consumer in particular, because we predominantly work in Indian market, is that the coming up of the curve of Indian consumer is happening so fast. In 2014-15, I went to people investing and asked them, where are you putting your money? I'm putting in fixed deposit. And if I would ask them, why not mutual funds? They'll say mutual funds is very complicated. You go back to the same, 2020, you go back and talk to youngsters and say, where are you investing in your money? I'm trading, I'm doing crypto.
Correct.
So why not mutual funds? They're too slow.
Yeah.
Just look at
Yes,
how fast
we've
so
moved.
if consumer, the categories, the context, the competition is changing so fast.
True.
There's no way for you to be kind of not changing with the times.
Lovely. So then probably this willingness to stand wrong and be corrected, learn and get back is just one more thing that will keep you relevant. And of course, like you mentioned, passion for what you're doing is seminal. It's like hygiene. If you don't have that, don't get into any domain.
Yeah.
Even if it's something like painting, it's not the skill, but it's the passion to paint. So totally yes. One more question.
Yes.
And I pick up from what you say. You're an engineer turned marketeer. You're a marketeer as a marketer, and I also remember you telling me that you're writing a book now.
The book is out actually.
The book is
It's
out.
called
Lovely.
Building Winning Brands.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I got a copy for you.
Thank
So,
you so much. Thank you. So, and yes, this was my question. It says a common sense approach to brand building, and so my next question. You all have learned through your success, failures. What are those few gems, for the lack of any better word, I'm using a very cliched terms, that you would want students to have? And this is not about brand
Yeah,
building,
absolutely.
but it's just about if you have to go out, what are those few things that you must have? So I'll connect to one other discussion. And we had a guest who mentioned that today each individual has to be a full stack individual. We can't have pieces. Everybody's a full stack. When I hear that, then I'm like, are we creating more generalists or are we creating more specialists? What is it in your view? How do you put this together? Basis your experiences. What are those few gems, I'll repeat that term, that you would want to leave people? And that's my last question.
So I think the core tenets of marketing or brand building are going to stay, they're enduring.
Okay.
Right? Brands will or need to own a space in consumers' mind. Counterintuitive it might sound, but branding is about subtraction.
Okay.
Right? As a marketer, as a brand builder, you have a temptation to communicate that my product does this, 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 and this.
Correct.
But the really powerful, strong brands actually own association with one single word. Volvo is safety, right?
Nike do it.
McDonald's is happiness. Like really strong ones actually are so strong because they're actually about one word, right? Everything else, and the interesting thing, which is both a challenge and an opportunity, is that you have to learn all these new tricks of trade and tools that are there that can help you. And if you don't learn, you might fall back. But ultimately, they're tools for you to be able to tell your story. If you cut all the jargon in the simplest possible way, what is a brand,
Okay.
right? Or how do you position a brand? If someone was to ask me, I'll tell him that if you were to ask Suharsh, why are you using this product versus that? The answer that Suharsh tells you is actually brand.
Correct.
How the consumer refers. And as marketeers, brand builders, are we credibly equipping our consumers to be able to say that?
Oh, okay. Okay. So I get this layered responsibility.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I get this. So getting back, what's the lesson that you want to leave my
yeah.
learners and anybody who's listening to this?
Not like it might not sound politically correct, but my inherent going in assumption that I approach every category and mostly consumer is that consumers inherently are lazy.
Okay.
Optimize for that.
Okay.
So if you go in with an assumption that consumers are lazy, consumers don't want to put in too much effort, they don't want to kind of increase their cognitive load, you will foolproof it for their laziness.
Oh,
right?
okay,
So what
okay,
you will do is
lovely.
you'll make it easy for them to discover you, easy for them to try you, easy for them to repeat you, refer you, and so on. Right?
Oh, okay.
That works extremely well.
Lovely.
Right?
So I take this. So assume that there's no one interested in you. Your consumer is lazy and he or she is not reaching you. You've got to reach them. So broadly you're saying work hard, be determined to put in your hours
Absolutely.
and work for yourself, your brand and your consumers to be
Last
successful.
bit I would add to this is, as for marketeers, as for brands, consistency compounds. Right? There's a compounding power to consistency. Very often we underestimate this because things are evolving, marketing is changing, new paradigms are emerging, there is next hot thing.
Okay.
As marketeers, we tend to move to
Yes,
that. Oh,
yes,
this celebrity
yes,
is hot,
the
so
fad.
this technology is hot,
Yeah.
this reel is trending, let's go to that social media.
Right.
And as brands also, okay, we have done it too much. So what we have realized in our careers as also in our work, brand managers, marketers tend to get bored much quickly than consumers do.
Oh,
Sometimes
okay.
we change communication because we feel, oh, everybody is bored of it, and everybody has this own urge to leave a mark.
Okay.
I've come on this brand, I
Correct.
will do something.
Yes,
Let
yes,
me change
yes,
the communication, let me change the name, let me tweak the logo at least.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Okay.
One of the boss had a very valuable lesson. If it is working, please don't tinker with it.
Okay,
Sometimes consistency as an investment, that same in marketing, if we are consistent at something, it will compound over a period of time and give you disproportionate returns. Of course, you need to see if you are on the right track
Of course, of course.
and
of
keep
course.
the consistency fresh. Change it,
Yeah.
change it.
A great example is Fevicol.
Absolutely.
का जोड़ है टूटेगा नहीं. The proposition is hammered into your head, but every time the rendition is different, right? That's
Yeah.
fresh consistency.
Yes.
So the
I
core
think-
of the
yes.
brand is the same, but the ability to tell the chapters and reinforce is so new and novel, right?
I hear
so
that.
That's the
Lovely.
thing.
Things are so cluttered. Consistency is the only thing that can make you stand
Okay,
out.
so lots of C's.
Yeah.
When things
I
are
know.
cluttered, then it is consistency that compounds. So I get that
That's the quirk of
completely.
being an engineer. They tend to write a formula.
No,
for
but we
everything.
just discussed, no, that there has to be a structure. So
Absolutely.
here's the structure. So because the consumer is lazy, that's first C, the consumer. The market is cluttered, the next C, and therefore consistency compounds.
Absolutely.
Leaving you all with these 4 C's, lovely.
Brilliantly articulated.
What a
Super.
pleasure having both of
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
a ton. Thanks.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.